We now enter into the portion of the season that I call the chase towards the chase for the championship. Good evening, everybody, and welcome here as we get ready for our ninth race of the 7th season of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series. Coming off the heels of what's been an exciting all-star race weekend, we are back here at Charlotte, and now the points are back on the line. This is going to set us up for a final 7 races before we will determine who are going to be the 16 drivers that battle for this season's Hersheys Cup Series Championship. So far, we've had 8 points races, 8 different race winners. So right now, 50% of that playoff grid would be filled by drivers who have gone to victory lane already. Will we see a 9th different winner here tonight, or could one of those previous 8 winners go to victory lane for a second time this season and pretty much lock themselves up a confirmed spot in this season's playoffs? We're going to have to wait and see. This is the Coca-Cola 600. It's the longest race of the season, so it's going to more than likely be a big-time fuel strategy race. And a lot of times we see a lot of surprise winners come out of the woodwork and end up being a surprise driver that we end up seeing in the playoffs. So we'll see if that will be the case here tonight in this one. On the pole position for this race, a guy who knows about going to victory lane here at Charlotte. He did it 1 week ago in the All-Star race. K Shearer makes it an all-CJ Racing front row with teammate Chris Dollerton alongside. Both drivers looking for their first win of the season. I believe for Dollerton, he's looking for his first career Hersheys Cup Series victory. For K Shearer, he's had at least 1 win every year for the past 3 years. Trying to get his 4th here. Let's go get that command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Command is given, and we are getting ready to have them roll off. As they do that, you can look down in the bottom right of your screen. In every Hersheys Cup Series race leading up to the playoffs, we will be showing you what the current playoffs grid looks like coming into each particular race. You can see your 8 race winners so far and the 8 drivers right now that would be in the playoffs via points. All that subject to change once the checkered flag waves here, but let's give you your overall top 10 in the point standings coming into this race, presented by Blame Shelley Insurance. After our Springfield race, the last points race that we had at the end of the first half of the regular season, Scott Roush has now taken the points lead over. He is 2 points in hand over J Baskinger. J Srigley, who was the points leader, fell back to 3rd. J Cittadino currently in 4th, and Kyle Keith right now is 5th in the points. Dylan Young, after winning at Springfield a few weeks ago, he's now up to 6th. Dylan Poteet in 7th. Former champion Kyle Mathews 8th. Jessica Shelton 9th. And completing the top 10 is one of our 3 former winners at this race in this field, former champion Anthony McCrury. We'll get to the other 2 former winners in just a moment. But you look up here at the front of the field, there's a lot of contenders trying to get their first win of the season. You've got Shearer and Dollerton, we mentioned. Jordan Lopez, a rookie there in the 79. Look back there in row 4, you got J Gardner and Cole Baker, a couple of teammates there, along with team owner Z Fitzwater. There's S Gallighan, who finished runner-up at Atlanta. So a lot of contenders here wanting to go to victory lane in the Coca-Cola 600. Longest race of the season is green. Let's roll! Gotta wonder if this might be the same Chevrolet K Shearer won the All-Star race in, if maybe they decided to use it here for the Coke 600. But he's gonna have one of his drivers to the inside out of K Shearer Racing Tech. That's Jordan Lopez to the bottom. Who's gonna lead the first lap? Looks like it will be the 80 of K Shearer on the outside line, but just barely, as now the Toyota Camry of Lopez uses that inside line, and he will go to the race lead. We have had 6 different winners of the Coca-Cola 600. 3 of them are in the field here tonight. Of the drivers that are not in the field here tonight that have won the Coke 600, James Richardson went coast-to-coast pole to win back in Season 1. Michael Norman, a former winner of this event back in Season 3, and the defending winner of this race, Leon Alvarez, no longer in the series, as the caution is out for the first time tonight already, and that's on lap number 3. Now, I think the leaders had already crossed the line, so they're racing back to the caution. The other former winners that are actually in this field, we mentioned Anthony McCrury won here in Season 2, James McLeod won here in Season 4, and Benjamin Miles, a former winner here in Season 5, as you see the smoke there on the front straightaway. And it looks like that went all the way down into the second dogleg area of the D-shaped front straightaway. Caution is out. The leaders just took it. And Jordan Lopez will lead us under our first yellow of the evening. And we got trouble up ahead. That is the 8 of Chris Dodd. Dodd in his final year in the Hersheys Cup Series. Looks like he was involved in what brought out the yellow flag. Don't really see anybody here near the rear of the field with damage. It looks like the 8's one of the only few coming to pit road. Well, we do have few other takers. Trent Dunham, Charles Sandford, J Shears, and Seth Cole, so it might have been a multi-car wreck, but the 8 has sustained the most damage, and look at this. We got the leaders all coming to pit road here, or at least most of them. Actually, the field kind of got shuffled up there, I think. Oh no, apparently the 60, 55, and 20 all were trapped behind the pace car. I think they were all on the lead lap, but this is definitely going to shuffle the field up. But the 79 of Lopez and all the leaders are coming in. So we could have a very interesting restart here, and we're in the early stages of this long race. But for now, let's take a look and see what happened to bring out the caution involving former champion Chris Dodd. Well, out of turn 4, they were 3 wide. That's Jordan Anderson way up on the top side there. Now let's see if maybe he brushes the wall off the corner. Yeah, he was riding way too high. Killed his momentum. Benjamin Miles didn't have time to check up. He gets into the back of Anderson, and that hooks him down into the 24 of Benny Watson. Watson was the one that went through the grass, and he's going to come right back up the racetrack, and absolutely nowhere for Chris Dodd to go. It's not been the swan song season Chris Dodd's been looking for. Cody Llamas going to also get collected there in the 48. Holly Davis going to just barely avoid, as does Osborne and Walsh. Looks like we had 3 cars involved here, and I think I found out why we saw Roush, Hartnett, and Lake so far back. I think they had actually not yet crossed the line when the yellow flag was waving, and so they thought they had taken the caution. The leaders had already gotten past the start-finish line. That's a lot of damage, though, on the 8 of Chris Dodd. I think he's already taken his car behind the wall. Benny Watson, who was a 4-time winner last year, still looking for win number 1 this season. Both these drivers not doing that great in the points. Watson was 23rd in points coming to this race. Chris Dodd, 27th. And both of them damaged early on in this one. Also, Cody Llamas struggling in the point standings as well. Got caught up in that. Llamas came into this race 39th. So 3 drivers involved in this one out of turn 4 early in this race in the Coca-Cola 600. Let's go back to green. Well, what a pit stop for former Daytona 500 winner Dallas McIntosh. He's going to be lining up in the lead when we go back green, but it's a bit of an interesting restart here as well because of the fact we had that kind of miscommunication of the timing of that yellow flag. Number of drivers got trapped behind the pace car. Now, they are on the tail end of the lead lap. You see Trent Dunham, Charles Sandford, Seth Cole, Shane Lake, J Shears, Scott Roush, and Emmanuel Hartnett. They are all still on the lead lap, but they are going to be restarting ahead of the leader McIntosh. So this is going to be a very interesting restart indeed. McIntosh will be restarting the leader. Lopez, who came to pit road as the leader, left second. So he'll line up in position number 2. Zachary Fitzwater in 3rd. Kyle Mathews 4th. J Baskinger 5th. The rest of your top 10 right now scored are J Gardner, Sean Gallighan, Joseph Srigley, J Bryant, and Chris Dollerton. After the incident, we have only 1 car out of the race, that being Chris Dodd, so he will finish in the 42nd position. Benny Watson, they made repairs to his race car, same to Cody Llamas, and they will both be starting at the tail end of this line as opposed to starting just ahead of the leader. So now, for Hartnett, Roush, all those guys up ahead of leader Dallas McIntosh, they're hoping they can stay ahead of the 14, maybe get a quick caution and get themselves back around at the tail end of the longest line, because right now, with the way that caution came out, it has put them in a rather precarious position very early on in this race. First caution of the evening, we're going back green on lap 8 of 60, so if my math is correct, 43 laps still remain in this race. No, I'm sorry, 53 laps still remain in this race. Dallas McIntosh looking for his first win since the Daytona 500 victory he had back in Season 6 as the green flag is back in the air here at Charlotte. Battle for the lead. lead. Yes, indeed. Lopez going to make it 3 wide. Puts McIntosh in the middle. Manuel Hartnett now a lap down way up on the top side. And as Lopez takes the lead, he's bringing K Mathews along with him, and they're still 3 wide back here. This could be dangerous. We saw a 3 wide situation not end well before. Hartnett might have brushed the wall, and he almost looked like he was going to come down to Fitzwater. But for the moment, they made it out of turn 4 unscathed. One car back there had 2 tires down the apron. That might have been the 83 of Dollerton. As K Mathews slots into second. This is a battle for third now. J Srigley on the bottom. Way up top side goes Baskinger, and Scott Roush, who's a lap down, is caught in the outside line. He's going to get in the wall. That's going to kill the outside line. He's losing a lot of spots, as is Dallas McIntosh, who was unfortunately trapped behind him. Battle for second. Srigley continuing to run the bottom. He puts Mathews in the middle, and now he's got Chris Dollerton as his wingman. This all going on behind the 79 of Lopez, who right now is the race leader. They're trying to put Dougie Shears down a lap. Srigley, oh, I thought he was going to make a move. Oh, trouble in the back. That's McIntosh around. Second caution of the evening. And the leaders had already crossed the line, so they're racing back to the caution, which means that Seth Cole, Trent Dunham, Shane Lake, they want to keep the 79 in their rearview mirror so they can stay on the tail end of the lead lap. Dunham's way up the track, though. Lopez might be able to pass him before the start-finish line. We'll see. Coming to the stripe. Is Dunham going to get him? I think he did. So Lake, Cole, and Dunham, they'll get back on the tail end of the lead lap. At the tail end of the line, Shears, Sandfer, they were not so lucky. It's Cody Llamas in the 48 coming off pit road. I don't know if he got involved in this incident as well. He was involved in the first wreck. There were a couple of cars sitting on pit road, but I couldn't tell who they were because I was more focused on watching the battle back to the line to see if Dunham was going to be able to edge Lopez to stay on the lead lap. And these drivers are getting the benefit of pitting here under the caution rather than having to pit under green, though I'm pretty certain even at this point they would not be able to make it the entire rest of the way on fuel. That is Daniel Voyles in the 26 there. The whole right front of that car has been ripped off. Cole Baker's on pit lane. Dallas McIntosh was the first car I saw sideways, and Cody Llamas involved in the second caution of the day. Looks like he's out of the race. Baker is out. McIntosh out as well. So second caution of the evening takes place here. We'll see if Lopez can this time get off pit road as the race leader as we look back at our second caution of the evening in the Well, it's not been a great year so far for Dallas McIntosh. 33rd in the points coming to this race. He gets into the wall. K Shearer, the pole sitter, got into him. Kev goes down to J Cittadino, and then that sends the 72 back up into the 14. It just blocks the whole track up as well. Number of drivers involved that I didn't realize. Sean Gallighan, Anthony McCrury, there's Baker, Kyle Keith. There's where the 26 got involved. Look at the whole right front of that car fly up into the air as he actually caused the 14 to go flying up in the air. Former winner of this event, James McLeod there in the 51, you see, with a lot of damage. Jordan Anderson was in it. Keith Batson's got damage back there. Brandon Gonzales spun around. I think that's Tim Walsh up against the outside wall behind his teammate K Shearer. And then here comes Cody Llamas, the 48. He gets into the back of Cole Baker. Benjamin Miles might have been involved, but I'm not certain. That was a lot of drivers that got collected up in this one, including 2 former winners of this event, McCrury in the 61, McLeod in the 51, and possibly Benjamin Miles, but I'm not certain if he got any damage or not. And there you see Tim Walsh up there, a lot of damage on the Honey-Made Chevrolet. Voyles is probably done. We know Baker is out. Batson might be done. That's a lot of drivers involved in this one. Look at Benny Watson trying to get around the outside. He got into the safer barrier a little bit, maybe a little contact as well with K Shearer. But like I said, a lucky break that caution was for drivers such as Shane Lake, Seth Cole, and Trent Dunham now getting back on the tail end of the lead lap. But a lot of drivers out of the race after this one. We're not even a quarter of the way through this race and already working our second caution in the longest race of the season. Well, Jordan Lopez has a very strong race car. There is no doubt about that. He got around K Shearer for the lead on the initial start. He got around Dallas McIntosh for the lead on the first restart. But his pit crew has been dropping the ball on pit road because both times he's come to pit road as the leader and both times he has left behind another race car. Joseph Srigley now inherits the race lead. Lopez will restart in second. Third place will be Baskinger, J Bryant fourth, and Levi McIntire in fifth. Dollerton lines up sixth, seventh Cody Smart, eighth Kyle Mathews, ninth Zachary Fitzwater, and J Arndt will now complete the top 10. Number of more drivers in the garage area after the wreck we just saw, and they include J Cittadino, James McLeod, Tim Walsh, Dallas McIntosh, Cole Baker, Daniel Voyles, and Cody Llamas. You see the drivers lined up on the inside line who got lapped due to that whole kind of weird configuration after the first caution. Dougie Shears, Emmanuel Hartnett, Charles Sandfer, and Scott Roush. They're all going to try and see if they can use that inside line to get by, maybe pull off what Dunham, Lake, and Cole did when that last caution came out. Green flag set to come back out. We are now a quarter of the way through this race, but 2 cautions so far. But still, the whole thing about this race is fuel strategy, and I'm still pretty certain they cannot make it to the completion of this race without having to come to pit road at least one more time. See there, all 4 of the lap machines were up to speed, and they're all going to get their lap back, it looks like. At the same time, Levi McIntire is going to follow them, and he's going to go to the top position. Our winner from Phoenix, McIntire, going to go to the race lead. 79 of Lopez going to try and get himself back to the race lead again. He's had the strongest car of the evening so far and led the most laps up to this point. He's going to go to the bottom, and he's going to try and take the spot. Boy, he almost lost it, though, as 2 tires down the apron. And he almost got run over by J Baskinger in the 38. McIntire's going to dive it down into the inside of Hartnett and block Lopez at the same time. Levi McIntyre, to my knowledge, has never had a multi-win season in the Hersheys Cup Series. Trying to get that here this year, as he'll now put Scott Roush down a lap. Now Dougie Shears and Charles Sandfer are praying their little guts out that they can get a caution, because right now they would be on the tail end of the lead lap. Roush and Hartnett not so lucky. Right now they are trapped off the lead lap. Baskinger now moves into second, Mathews to third. Ooh, someone got the wall back there as they were all scattering left and right to avoid. I think that might have been the 21 of Srigley. Here's a battle for third. Kyle Mathews with Chris Dollerton in tow. Mathews been running really well this season. He is 8th in the point standings, but still looking for his first win of the year. Actually looking for his first win since season 5. Zachary Fitzwater there in the 59. Took part in the All-Star race last week as the fan vote winner. And there's his teammate Johnny Gardner right behind him as well. Gardner had a good showing in the All-Star race. Behind them, Daniel Guilbert running in the 7th position. Finished runner-up at Memphis. That was his best finish. And he finished runner-up to the car right behind him, Jessica Shelton, who comes into this race 9th in the point standings. This has definitely been a much better start to the year than it was for her last year. Last year, she was struggling to remain in the top 30 in points, even though she went to victory lane twice. Right behind her, how about Cody Smart? Good run there for the 12, his team owner right behind him in 11th, Dylan Young. So good run for a couple of the young motorsports cars. We saw J Bryant up here in the top 10 not too long ago. He's now kind of faded back. He's still up there. Whoa, Lopez got the wall hard in the 79, and now he's fading back. There's Bryant in the 22, passing him for position. Back up here towards the front, see if anything's developing. And I'll tell you what is developing, and that's Levi McIntire setting a blistering pace. He got around Scott Roush, put him a lap down. Same for Charles Sandfer, now setting his sights on Dougie Shears, trying to see if he can put him back off the lead lap. And at the same time, he has opened up quite a distance back to new second place driver Kyle Mathews. Now 1.2 seconds separation. There's Mathews. He's about to catch his teammate Charles Sandfer, who right now is a lap down. Dollerton up to third. Baskinger must have hit the wall or something, because he is faded back almost outside of the top 10 now. Gardner is now up to fourth. Actually, no, Gardner's fading back. Guilbert has moved up to fourth, and now Cody Smart's in fifth. Guilbert dealing with the lap car of Emmanuel Hartnett. Arndt trying to battle back on the top side, and he will succeed. Look at this. Cody Smart going to also try and use the outside line. This is a battle for the 4th position between the 4 and the 12. Also adds Shelton and Gardner into this mix. Our winner last time out at Springfield, Dylan Young, cracking the top 10. And how about Shane Lake? He's right now in the 11th spot as the 55, now trying to take 10th from Holly Davis. Lake, let's not forget, not too long ago was on the tail end of the lead lap, had to restart ahead of the leaders. What a comeback it has been early on here for the 55 car. Lead continues to increase between McIntyre and Mathews, but bear in mind we still have the possibility that green flag pit stops will shuffle up this field. Varying strategies could bring about a surprise winner that's not even maybe running up here in the top 10, as McIntyre had a little bit of trouble getting around the slower now lap machine of Brandon Gonzales. Mathews right now, I think, just running in the draft of his teammate Charles Sandfer, who's a lap down, maybe to help save a little bit of fuel. Sandfer kind of opening the door for Mathews to get by Brandon Gonzales, so this might be a little bit of strategy right now between these two drivers, these two teammates. McIntyre right now, kind of the book between two bookends. Dougie Shears on the tail end of the lead lap. Scott Roush first car 1 lap down. And let's not forget, it was fuel strategy that got Levi McIntyre his win earlier on this year at Phoenix. It was very much looking like Jordan Lopez was going to win that race. Had to come to pit road with about 2 to 3 laps to go. McIntyre was able to stay out and picked up his first win of the season. Kind of interesting because it was looking like Lopez had the strongest car of the evening here until we saw him slam the wall, and he has dropped quite a ways back now. Now, McIntyre is going to probably have to deal with Shears at some point in time, but there may be bigger things to worry about up ahead. I was noticing as they hit the back straightaway, there is traffic that these drivers are going to have to deal with momentarily. Benny Watson, 34th, badly damaged. Keith Batson currently in the 28th position. He's badly damaged, as is K Shearer, our All-Star race winner, in 27th. Not only is that traffic that Levi McIntyre is going to have to deal with, but a couple of those drivers, the 39 and the 80, are actually drivers for position that Dougie Shears can pass. And McIntyre did not get around Benny Watson very well. That really slowed him up. My goodness, he's spent a long time behind the 24. That's going to bring Kyle Mathews possibly up here, along with Chris Dollerton. These three might be able to get into a battle for the race lead here, as they're about to close in on more slower traffic. Scott Roush, I think, wanted to use the 24 as a pick to get his lap back. He and Sandfer right there hounding the 99. Dougie Shears about to pass Keith Batson. That would be, I believe, for the 28th position. K Shearer for 27th, though. So Shears is going to pick up some positions, as now Batson's going to hit pit road, get out of the way of the race leaders. Shears now going to bypass K Shearer. So Shearer will be the next car that McIntyre will have to encounter. This is actually a position right here that's a battle as well between Scott Roush and Charles Sandfer. Sandfer comes into this race 21st in points. It's even more detrimental, though, for Scott Roush, because he comes into this race as the points leader. And McIntyre hits pit road. So the green flag pit stops begin here, and this might actually be the first of 2 pit stops these drivers will have to make, unless this is going to put them right within their fuel window to make it the rest of the way. So Kyle Mathews stays out, Dollerton stays out, and these two have been running fairly close to each other, almost nose to tail, so they're going to produce a little bit faster speed, I think, than Levi McIntyre will. And if they leave pit road together, if they come to pit road together, they might be able to cycle around to first and second, and they are indeed coming to pit road this time. JT Bryant, Jessica Shelton, Dylan Young all stayed out as well. They're coming to pit road. Holly Davis, Johnny Gardner, and Trent Dunham, I believe. That is everybody that needed to come to pit road coming to pit road. Trying to get to the 09 of Mathews. There we go. Because I think it's going to come between Mathews and McIntyre as to who is going to cycle around with the race lead. Trouble on pit road. Contact between Johnny Gardner and Sean Gallighan, and Gallighan is boxed in between the 7 and the pit wall. Problems for the 44, and Johnny Gardner was running up inside the top 10. Mathews coming off pit road alongside K Shearer, now going to get around him. I don't know if the 21 is ahead of the 09 or not. I don't think so. And here comes McIntyre around Kyle Mathews. So McIntyre will re-inherit the race lead. Looks like Mathews will cycle around in second. Third place looks like it could very well be J Baskinger with Cody Smart fourth, Shane Lake fifth, and Dollerton looks like it's going to slip back to sixth. Wait for the ticker to update itself, and yeah, right now you're looking at a battle for third. Baskinger, Lake, and Smart. Baskinger's got right side damage, and apparently they did not feel it was worthy of fixing on pit road under that green flag pit stop. There's Mathews in second. He is 3.5 seconds back from Levi McIntyre, and there's Johnny Gardner. Yeah, Gardner had to stay on pit road a little bit longer because of that contact between himself and Sean Gallighan. So neither one of those drivers going to get the finish they were looking for here tonight. Holly Davis must have had an issue on pit road as well. She was in the top 10, and now she is a lap down in 22nd. Right now it's Levi McIntyre, everything going his way. Charles Sandfer, I believe, is now on the tail end of the lead lap. And wait, we've got some more drivers back here that must have struggled on pit road. Shelton and Dylan Young, there's damage on that 0-2. Both these cars were inside the top 10 before the cycle of pit stops began. They're now 18th and 19th. Sandfer currently is in the, should be 20th position now. Oh no, he's 21st. Young is actually 19th and Shelton 20th. Sandfer now trying to crack the top 20 as he's going to try and get around his teammate Jessica Shelton. This all going on in front of the race leader Levi McIntyre. But don't look now. Kyle Mathews, with the help of these machines, Srigley and Gardner, they are closing the gap up to the race leader, Levi McIntyre. So Mathews, with the aid of some lap traffic, is looking like he is drafting up to McIntyre. Last time 2.6 seconds back. This time they cut it down by 0.2. McIntyre gets up here to these drivers, who I believe are up to speed. That's going to slow him down a little bit, and that could allow Mathews to be able to continue to reel him in. Now the question I've got is, did that pit stop they made have them so that way they can make it the rest of the way on fuel, or are they going to have to pit at least one more time before the checkers? Next time by, it's 20 laps to go. McIntyre now caught up to the back bumper of Jessica Shelton in the 21st position. And you got the 23 of Brandon Gonzales just ahead, who we know is somewhat off the pace. So this is going to slow McIntyre's lap times down just a little bit. Let's see what the gap is going to be in the lap times here. McIntyre crosses the line, 27.898. Mathews crosses 27.402, so 0.4 quicker. You saw the 44 of Gallighan just leaving pit road after that extended stay, after the issues between him and Johnny Gardner. 44 probably had to teleport to his pit stall. Mathews closing. Gardner got the wall. Less than 2 seconds last time by. This time by, cut it down by another half second. Mathews is on a charge. And at the same time, we've got these guys back here that are starting to reel in the top two. Smart in third, Lake in fourth, Baskinger fifth, and Dollerton sixth. These guys were about 5 seconds back a few laps ago. They've now cut it down to about 3 seconds between themselves and the race leader, Levi McIntyre. We'll see if the gap closes up here this time. Mathews crosses the line. He gained about another 0.6, and these guys gained almost a full second. Kyle Mathews can see Levi McIntyre. He's got a couple of cars to get around. Gonzales in the 23, and then his teammate Shelton in the 0-2, and then it may be mano-a-mano, McIntyre versus Mathews. It's going to hinder Mathews just a little bit. Going to get by Gonzales, now gets the inside of Shelton. Now Smart and company, they're going to have to deal with these slower machines as well. But Mathews is now cleared of traffic. Next car ahead is the race leader, Levi McIntyre. Trying to remember what track it was at that Kyle Mathews last won at. I'm almost thinking that he didn't win in Season 5. I think he actually hasn't won since Season 4. But I can't recall what track it was at. He's going to take the race lead, though. He made no bones about it. Very quickly dove to the inside of the 99, and new leader, the Kings Island Chevrolet. Mathews' last win was indeed Season 4 at Dodge Motor Dome. So it's been a long winless streak for that car, and that driver in particular. Mentioned he's been having a great year, 8th in the point standings after 8 races. But I wouldn't give the win to Mathews just yet, because McIntyre's still there, and Cody Smart somehow broke away from the other 3 that were with him, and he is cutting his way through traffic very quickly. Bypassing Shelton, he's got Gonzales and Gardner just up ahead to have to deal with. There's Baskinger, Lake, and Dollerton. They're trying to catch up. Time is running out as well. You drop back a little bit further here. Got to go quite a ways back. That's where you find Seth Cole in 7th. That was one of those drivers that got that timely caution to stay on the lead lap. Got to drop back further before you get to R.J. Reynolds. Good run for him in 8th. 9th place right now scored is Daniel Guilbert. He just actually got around Joshua Osborne for that spot. Right now, Osborne, the highest running rookie, currently scored in the 10th position. Even he's got damage on the right side of his car. 11th place, Trent Dunham. He was another of those drivers that got the timely caution. So Lake, Cole, and Dunham all up in the top 15 after they were in danger of finishing this race off the lead lap. 12th place right now, good run for J.T. Bryant. 13th place would be Fitzwater. 14th, Benjamin Miles. And right now, Jordan Anderson is in 15th. I think he was one of the first cars to hit the wall in this race. 16th place is where you would find Charles Sandfer, who right now is on the lead lap. 17th would be Dougie Shears. 18th, I think, is Dylan Young. 19th would be Kyle Keith. And I believe Anthony McCrury is in the 20th position. I think he right now is the last car on the lead lap in 20th. As right behind him you saw there the 09 of Kyle Mathews, who is gapping himself back to Levi McIntyre. Actually, we got a battle for second. Smart side by side now with the 99. So McIntyre's car has faded away as this run has progressed. He lost the lead to Kyle Mathews, now second to Cody Smart. Now the question is, does Cody Smart have enough time with 10 laps to go to reel in Kyle Mathews? Mathews right behind Anthony McCrury, who is on the tail end of the lead lap, up to speed. So that could be a bit of a hindrance for the 09. Well, as soon as I say that, Mathews goes to the inside. Couple of former champions side by side there. Now McCrury goes a lap down. Only 19 cars still in the lead lap. And Sandfer's hitting pit road, as is Batson. Whoa, Kyle Mathews! He's slowing. Did he miss pit road? Mathews is slowing. I think he's out of fuel. Nope, he's back in the throttle. Might have made contact with K Shearer. I thought he missed pit road possibly. That car was decreasing in speed. He gathered it back up. He's still running. That's going to lose him some positions, but I think some drivers have hit pit road. We're going to have pit stops with less than 10 to go, and Mathews is indeed on the pit lane. Cody Smart as well. So it comes down to this, and Shelton stays out. Jessica Shelton is going to stay out. Oh, actually, no, she wasn't battling for the lead. Never mind. Who stayed out that we might have to look at here? I don't think anybody stayed out, actually. At least of the lead lap cars. McCrury stayed out, but he's coming to pit road now. As is Kyle Keith, Johnny Gardner, so I think it still might be Mathews. It's going to be between Mathews and Smart, and they both have pit stalls, one behind the other. Mathews down and away, Smart down and away. They're going to leave together. So this battle is not over between the 09 and the 12. And these might be the two that battle it out. Someone's got damage back there. I think McCrury got damage coming out of pit road in the 61. So they're going to have an extended stay on the pit lane. As Mathews coming off pit road. Mathews, I believe, will inherit the race lead still. Smart there. Oh, here comes McIntyre, though. McIntyre pitted about a lap earlier than Mathews did. Now remember, McIntyre has a good short-run car. He just got around Cody Smart for second, and he's closing in on the 09. It's going to be 6 laps to go when Mathews hits the line here. This is going to be a doozy of a race. Johnny Gardner's the leader, actually. 7 of Gardner. But did he come to pit road, maybe? Yeah, Gardner's on pit road. He was the leader, but he just hit pit road, giving up the race lead. Now where's Mathews? There's Mathews, there's McIntyre. This is going to be the battle for the lead now. Mathews will re-inherit it. McIntyre 3/10 back in second. Cody Smart about a second and a half back in third, as now he's having to deal with the lap car of Joseph Srigley. Shane Lake there in fourth, and Trent Dunham. Oh no, I thought Trent was in fifth, but he's not. Trent's actually now a lap down, as is Dylan Young. Seth Cole's now up in fifth. And it's Reynolds, Gilbert, Bryant, Dollerton, and Fitzwater according to our scoring. Let's go back up here to the front though, because this battle for the race lead I don't think is over. McIntyre to the inside of Mathews. Can he make it stick off turn 2 is the question. Oh, I don't think he's quite there. I think Mathews has him cleared. Now they're going to have to deal with K Shearer. Mathews to the inside of the 80. He'll get by him cleanly. McIntyre follows suit. They've also got Joshua Osborne just up ahead. Osborne 16th, last car in the lead lap. Look at Mathews go way down low to try and stop McIntyre from getting to his inside. Looks like it's going to come down between these two. Cody Smart back there, losing ground, and has 2 lap machines between himself and the top 2. Now the question is, does Mathews focus more on trying to pass the 27, or does he instead try and just play defense against Levi McIntyre? They're catching more traffic up ahead. That's Dougie Shears, Benjamin Miles, and the slow car of Keith Batson. Looks like Batson's going way up the track to maybe try and get out of the way of the leaders when they catch him. Very gentleman thing to do. Mathews now trying to get to the inside of Osborne, try and put him a lap down. Oh, they're going to catch Batson in a very bad spot off turn 4. Osborne in the wall, and he nearly collected Kyle Mathews. That slowed up McIntyre a little, as Mathews takes 2 laps to go. He's going to get by Batson. That might have really killed Levi McIntyre's momentum, though, as he had to slow up to avoid running over the 27. He's now got to deal with Keith Batson before he can get up to Mathews, who has got 1 more circuit to go. White flag in the air, this time by Kyle Mathews, trying to get Retro Racing Enterprises their 2nd win of the season, and the 1st of his season, as well as 1st since season 4, a long winless streak for Kyle Mathews. Down the back straightaway comes the Kings Island Chevrolet. The streak is going to be over if he can just maneuver these final 2 corners. He will indeed. He could coast, as Kyle Mathews will win the Coca-Cola 600 here tonight at Charlotte. 9 races, 9 different race winners. And I believe for Kyle Mathews, I'd have to look back and see, but if he does manage to make the playoffs, the former champion from Season 3 might be making his first playoff berth since the year he won the championship. Have to double check that just to be 100% certain on that. Yeah, he was a 2-time winner in Season 4. We mentioned he won at Dodge Motor Dome. He also had won at Phoenix, but both those races didn't get him into the playoffs. I'm pretty certain Season 3, the year he won the championship, was the last year he made the playoffs, and that is indeed the case. Wow. So not only does he end a winless streak that stretches more than 2 seasons, he's also got a chance of making the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. And yet another former Hershey's Cup Series champion, maybe going to have a chance at being the first ever 2-time Hershey's Cup Series champion. We already know that Anthony McCrury is in the hunt after winning at Atlanta. But what a great strategy there for Kyle Mathews. He had a strong car on the long run, and he proved it. And he also had a strong car on the short run there, being able to run Levi McIntyre down and secured that top position to win this race. So Mathews with the win. McIntyre has to settle for second. So close there. He was on Mathews' back bumper, but I think the slower traffic played havoc for him being able to go for his second win of the season. Cody Smart, great run for him there. I don't know how strong he would have been against Kyle Mathews, but he had a very fast car. He'll get third. Seth Cole and Shane Lake, that's the comeback story, I think, of the race. Both those cars were basically off the lead lap. They were able to get their lap back and battled back for 4th and 5th place finishes. R Reynolds, a great run in 6th. Daniel Guilbert, 7th. Fitzwater, 8th. Bryant, 9th. And Chris Dollerton completes the top 10. And we only had 15 cars finish on the lead lap with Baskinger, Anderson, Sandfer. That was a comeback finish as well. Sandfer was actually a lap down at the early portions of this race. Somehow battled back for a 13th place finish. Same for J Shears in 14th. So they both had comeback races, and Benjamin Miles was really the only former winner of this event that had at least a decent run here as he finished in the 15th position. Then you had Joseph Srigley 16th. Osborne gets Rookie of the Race in 17th. Kyle, Keith, Holly Davis, and Trent Dunham complete the top 20. And then on down, you've got Anthony McCrury, former winner of this event, in 21st. Go further down, and you see the number of drivers that were running well that apparently had pit road issues, like Gardner finishing 25th, Shelton there in 27th. Go further down there, our pole sitter K Shearer finishing in 31st. And big news right there with Scott Roush finishing in 29th. He came into this race as the points leader, and it was not that much of a gap between himself, Baskinger, and Srigley. Baskinger was 2 points back. Srigley was 9 points back. Srigley finishing 16th. Baskinger finished in, 11th? Yeah, so I think Baskinger is going to take the points lead over heading into next week's race. And you look on down through the rest of the finishing results, a lot of drivers off the lead lap, and we had a total of 8 drivers finish out of the race after 2 cautions in the first 15 laps. Cittadino, McLeod, Walsh, McIntosh, Baker, Voyles, Llamas, and Chris Dodd. But that does it for our longest race of the season, and Kyle Mathews ends a 2+ season winless streak with his first win of the year here in the Coke 600. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become a part of the crew today. This win for Kyle Mathews also, we should mention, puts his total now up to 6, and that ties him for 5th on the all-time wins list. So congrats to him on that. But if you enjoyed this race, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full feature results. These are your rookie points and your overall points heading into next week. Next week, we've got Trucks, Pizza Hut X Series, and Hershey's Cup Series action coming to you. It's Michigan where we're going to see the Trucks at, and Pizza Hut and Hershey's Cup Series action will be coming from the, I call it a short track. A lot of people don't call it a short track, but I do. Richmond International Raceway. Going to be another night race under the lights at Richmond, so you won't want to miss that. But 9 races, 9 different race winners up to this point. Will we see a 10th next week? You'll have to wait and find out. Till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching Production History, All Flame Racing at its best. Good night from Charlotte.